Hi, my name is Juanita Ewell. I am a lifelong resident of the community of Cherry Hill. I'm a member of the Cherry Hill Development Corporation, which is one of the oldest community organizations in Cherry Hill. When I retired after years of working for the government, I decided to get more involved in our community. And one of the biggest community issues was the lack of fresh, nutritious food. So I wanted to start an urban garden within the community. And I did not know how to go about doing it, but I did believe it was possible. Through pursuing that dream, I was introduced to Dr. Nadine Bronstein, a professor at Towson University, at a garden meeting in Cherry Hill. Once we were introduced and I shared the dream of bringing food to the community, she was very instrumental in convincing me that it was possible and that if we worked together, it would be a lot easier. So she encouraged me to establish a relationship, a partnership with Towson University. And it's through that relationship that was established that the garden has developed to the point that it is today. Towson has been very instrumental in bringing this dream to fruition, which the dream is still growing, but we are at a point where we can see the fruits of our labor. Towson has been very instrumental in making that happen by encouraging us through resources, with networking abilities, with the assets that are available at the school, such as student labor, student resources. I hit a dead spot, I'm sorry. But at any rate, through that relationship with Towson, we were able to communicate with various departments at Towson University, one of which was the occupational therapy department. In working with them, we were able to develop a disability or possibility grant here at the Cherry Hill Garden. And that possibility garden is designed for people with disabilities who have a desire to be involved in garden but don't have the capabilities of making it happen. So we have a garden space here created specifically for people with disabilities. People in wheelchairs can work in raised beds right while sitting in their wheelchairs. We also have additional beds for people who can't stoop down or bend over. They can stand and still do garden work in beds that are at a height that they can manage.
Mm-hmm. Can you talk about how grant funding has been involved in the partnership?
Well, once we established this relationship with Dr. Bronstein, she was able to guide us in obtaining grants to fund the work we were trying to do. And it was through her guidance that we were able to obtain a grant from the Baltimore Community Foundation and from the Constellation Energy Foundation, which provided the funding for materials, for fencing, for equipment and equipment storage. And in addition to that, Towson provided the student labor that was also vital to bringing this dream to fruition. Towson students have volunteered through student work days to come here to the garden at least a couple of 2 or 3 times a month to work in the garden in whatever area we needed some work done. And in addition, the Towson students from the occupational therapy department were instrumental in development and the creation of this possibility garden. It was funded through a grant from the USDA, and the students took that grant money and created the raised beds for the possibility garden, and the plants and the whole area in which the possibility garden is developed.
What about relationships with other universities in addition to Towson?
Well, we have established a relationship with various universities. We've collaborated with the University of Maryland College Park, with Johns Hopkins School of Public Health, with James Madison University, and with sororities from Towson University and other colleges, with fraternities, and through the students at various colleges, we've been able to accomplish a lot more of the physical aspect of this garden. Without them, we wouldn't be able to be as far along as we are. And those students have signed on for various work days where they come 2 or 3 times a month and work in the garden to help to develop whatever area we're working on at the time. And I'm at a dead spot again. At any rate, I suggest that any community, I have no idea who that is, any community has to open up the lines of communication. The schools are there and the resources are there, but I think the communities have to reach out and let these colleges know what their needs are. And once you let the colleges know what your needs are, the resources may already be in place to provide you with what you need.
What advice do you have, Juanita, for other communities who are trying to partner with universities and universities wanting to partner with communities to have a successful relationship?
I think it's very important for communities to define what their needs are, open the lines of communication between them and whatever colleges or universities are in their area, and express what their needs are and see what resources that may be available from those colleges. There are a lot of students and colleges out there that want opportunities for their students to interact in communities, which would help the students' growth. And unless communities express what their needs are and reach out, you miss out on a lot of the opportunities that are there. And it's only through us reaching out and communicating so well that Towson has become vital to what's going on in the community of Cherry Hill. But it's very important to open the lines of communication and let your needs be known. Reach out to the universities.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Okay. Tell us about the Possibility Garden.
Oh, this is an area of the Cherry Hill Urban Garden known as the Possibility Garden. This garden was developed for people that have disabilities but who still want to engage in gardening activities. We have tables here, or we have raised beds here that are accessible for wheelchair-bound patients, where they can sit in their wheelchairs and work in the garden beds. And then we have garden beds here that are designed for people who are not able to stoop down or bend over to garden. So the garden beds being up high the way they are allows people with those disabilities to stand and work from a standing position and still engage in gardening activities. The Cherry Hill Urban Garden, we make our own compost and fertilizer from scraps from the garden and from resources from the grass and the trees. We have compost bins where we make fertilizer to use in our raised beds. So on each end of the field, we have a large area where we're making compost. Adjacent to this compost bin, we have 24 raised beds where we grow vegetables that don't have deep roots. And we have 24 of them, and at the present time we're growing a variety of lettuces and salad greens in these raised beds. And we're able to raise enough lettuce and salad greens to sell to several markets and to several restaurants. We've also developed an orchard area in our garden where we have 9 or 10 trees that are fruit trees, and we're trying to make this section into an area where we will be growing fruit for the community. And the trees were planted as twigs, and so far they're coming along very well. But we also wanted to try to provide some fresh fruits in the community through the growth of this orchard area.
Can you talk about the greenhouse?
Okay, and we decided that in order to extend our growing season, we needed a greenhouse, which would allow us to start our garden initiative earlier in the year before the ground is ready for planting. We decided that if we had a greenhouse, we could start early, and that way we'd have a head start. By the time the ground was warm enough to do planting, our plants will already be started. And this year we had over 2,500 plants started in our greenhouse in March, so that in April and May, when we were ready to plant, those plants were already well established in the greenhouse, which is consists of piping, metal piping, and heavy gauge plastic. It doesn't have a heating system or anything like that. It's solar operated, so the area heats up from the sun, and when we needed to cool off, we just raise the plastic. But it has worked very well with us this year by allowing us to start earlier and to extend our season well into the fall. In this area of the Cherry Hill Urban Garden, we have 14 long rows where we plant a variety of vegetables. For instance, this row here is potatoes, we have corn, we have peppers, carrots, turnips, zucchini, squash, beets, green beans, and a variety of 9 types of tomato plants. This allows us to grow sufficient food for our community and for some other venues that we are selling food to. We also have 2 rows over here of onions and garlic that we planted, and this will provide us with a variety of 3 or 4 different types of onions and 1 type of garlic, but it's coming along very well. We planted that in the fall, and it's growing profusely, and it's ready to be harvested now. And we have another compost pile on this end of the field. Like I said, we make our own compost. We do it on both ends of the field, and that's sufficient to provide the entire garden area with fertilizer. And in this area of the garden, we call it our food processing area, because once we pick the vegetables from the field, we bring it over to this tub, fill the tub with water, we wash our vegetables and weigh and process them to sell to the community. And this is an ingenious way to give us access to equipment we need without having to make expensive purchases. So this is a bathtub that we purchased for that purpose, and it works fine as a processing area to wash and process our green.
Tell us about the shipping container.
This shipping container was purchased by the garden to house our equipment and supplies and things that we needed to secure for the garden. We purchased this shipping container from a trucking company. A student from Towson University painted it on the outside with a mural to make it attractive. And with the help of students and volunteers, we put shelving inside so that we could store more and more equipment in it. And we use it to house everything. Office supplies, garden supplies. We use it for whatever purposes we need to. And it has worked very well for us as a sign, as an advertisement of who we are and what we do. It provides a shelter when it's bad weather up here. It also, like I said, it provides a safe place for where we house our equipment and supplies.